mother, brother, some guy who didn't exist, and then me. So the guy who didn't exist was to be my husband. So in our culture, that person became sort of more primary. It's almost like there was this whole formulation of an idea of this guy who was going to be outside in the backyard playing with the kids and, you know, supporting me. And he took a very prominent position in the family, but he didn't exist. So the cultural influence around machismo was about making a priority for someone who didn't even exist, but that we were supposed to sort of hold a space for. And as time goes on, and as we go into, you know, further generations, the question is, do we want to continue to pass those ideas on to our daughters? That someone who doesn't exist has this priority position in the family when she herself may have other ideas about what she wants to do, other than maybe get married and be taken care of by somebody. So the further on we go with our discussions, the more it comes back to how are we going to raise our children? What is the message that we give to the children who are getting the message that someone who doesn't exist is more important than our girl children? Now, I was studying the way children's attitudes change over time. Now, I don't know if what I'm about to tell you is true cross-culturally, and maybe somebody else can address this. But according to the study that I read, little girls and little boys show the exact same amount of confidence for the first 7 years. They're sort of like out there with their personalities, showing their personalities and allowing themselves to be who they are. And then around between the ages of 8 and 9, things start to change. And those changes are that the little girls start taking a back seat and start listening to messages that have to do with don't be so loud, don't be aggressive, don't sit that way, you know, all the different things that they're told that brings them into a level of self-consciousness about who they are and starting to suppress who they are. Now, that may be a cross-cultural phenomenon. I'd be interested to know more about that. But my hope is that as we go forward in our discussion, that it does come back to understanding that regardless of the culture, regardless of the religion, that the message that we're giving to the children is pretty consistent, and they're paying really close attention. And so they're looking at their parents, they're looking at us, and they're wondering, is that my 3-minute countdown? 3 more. They're wondering who it is that they're going to be. So there is an opportunity for us always to talk to children about not repeating the sins of our father, so to speak, not repeating the same multi-generational mistakes that have been made in terms of doing things by force. And so when I look at my own family and then I see how the children of the next generation are being raised, I see that they're being raised a little bit further away from the Hispanic culture and also away from the roots of our particular religion. So if you're Latin, you know that was probably Catholicism, right? So there's nothing inherently wrong with Catholicism, but when we blend culture and religion together, we tend to have very rigid, dogmatic perspectives of how we're going to raise our children and what the rules are.